Okay, this is the second video segment of the solution to assignment number 7. What it says is that consider the 50-degree angle right there, and find two positive angles and two negative angles that are coterminal with the given value. So first, let's go ahead and mark down the 50. The 50 is over here. Okay, say something like that. This is 50 degrees. Because it's positive, it's going counterclockwise like this. Okay. Now we want two angles, two positive and two negative ones, which are coterminal with this. Let me use a different color here. Okay. So for the first one, I can go like this. I can go like that. So 360 degrees plus 50 degrees is 410. This angle is coterminal with 50 degrees. But it says also show me another one. Well, here you add 2 times 360. In other words, you go around this thing twice. So if I were to draw this thing with a different color, I'll do it like this. I go once, I get there. I go twice, I get there, and then I go 50 degrees. So it's going to be, for the second answer, is going to be 720 plus 50, and this is going to be 770 degrees. Now, these were positive angles. Now, let me also show you some negative angles, which are coterminal with 50. So let me redraw this. So my original angle was 50 degrees. I'm going to draw it right here. There's your roughly 50 degrees. Okay. Now, what I can do is this time I can go in the clockwise direction, starting at, let me redraw that just a sec. Clockwise direction, I start here, redraw that, and go to that. This is the terminal side, right? So it's this angle. So minus, now notice that this is 360 minus 50 degrees, so it's going to be minus 310. Okay? If I went all the way to the x-axis, it would be negative 360. But it's not all the way to the axis, it's off by 50 degrees, so it's minus 310. As the second one, I can go do the same thing, except that I go one more round. So let me use a green color. So I start here, I go clockwise, so these are all negative. I don't stop there, I go all the way there. This is already minus 360. And then I go another round, not all the way, but stop right there. So the second one is going to be minus 360. First I went 360, then I went minus 310. Okay. Or let me actually say it a different way. You could have interpreted this thing as going 360 twice, and then you add 50 degrees to it, just like I got there. Okay. In other words, I could have interpreted this fellow as minus 360 plus 50. Here I go 360 twice and add this, and that's going to be let me use green, minus 720 plus 50, and this is going to be minus 600 and I believe 70 degrees. All right. Yeah. Okay. Let's do the next one. You will have questions like that on the next quiz and on the next test, so you might as well get to know how to do these. Number 135, same type of answer, same type of question. So let's go 135. 135. Okay, let me start here. This one is problem number 28. And it's 135. First, let me draw that for you. 135 is this kind of an angle, like that, okay? And this leftover here, this leftover is, of course, 45 degrees. So this is 135. If I want to get the two positive angles which are coterminal, okay, so for example, for the orange one, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to start here and go and go and stop right there. Stop right there. So it's going to be 360 plus 135, 360 degrees plus 135, and that is going to be 495 degrees. Okay. Now, as for the next one, maybe I should redraw this thing so that let me redraw this. Remember, you started here, you went there, one cycle, and then all the way to that angle. Okay. Let me draw the next one down here. So 135 was like this. Okay. So I'll use green here just like before. So I start there, I go once, okay, I go twice, and then I go and stop at the terminal side. So it's going to be 360 plus 360 plus 135, and this is going to be 720 plus 135, and this is going to be 855 degrees. Now, it says do the same thing, except that use negative angles. Okay, so fine. So let me go down here. Do this. So there was 135. Okay, 130. This was 135. And because it says we want a negative angle, so for the first one, let me use orange. I go clockwise until I reach the terminal point. So right there. Okay, and this thing is just think about it. This thing is, first of all, it is negative. It's as if I went 360 degrees and then added 135 to it. So it's going to be minus 5 and 2 and 2. I think that's right. Yep. Degrees. Don't forget the degree sign here. Now, if you want to get a second one, well, you just keep going one more round. So the second one is going to go, you start here, you go once, and then you go until you get to that terminal point. Okay, so it's going to be minus 360, minus 360, plus 135, and this is minus 720, plus 135, and this is going to be negative 585 degrees. Okay, I think this is correct. Yep. Let's do the last problem, number 29, from this group, 3 pi over 4. So let me go down here. 3 pi over 4. So this is problem number 29. 29. And it says 3 pi over 4. Now, 3 pi over 4 is, oops, wait a minute. 3 pi over 4 is this angle. It's, remember, pi over 4 is 45, and 3 pi over 4 is going to take you to exactly the same location, namely same thing as 135 that I was talking about. So 3 pi over 4 is right here, which incidentally is exactly what we did in number 28, except that that was in degrees, this is radian. So if I want to do the positive ones, so I go one cycle, and then 3 pi over 4 added to it. So 2 pi plus 3 pi over 4, and that is 11 pi over 4. That's the first answer, first positive coterminal angle. And then for the second one, I do exactly the same thing except that I go twice. So green one, you go once, you go twice, and then you go until you reach the terminal side right there. So 2 pi plus 2 pi plus 3 pi over 4, which is, this is going to be 19 pi over 4, which incidentally, this 19 pi over 4 will be exactly what we got for the previous problem when we did this one. I bet that's the same angle. It should be. Okay. Very good. Now let's do the negative ones. Okay, let's do the negative ones. Let me see now. This is what we had. 3 pi over 4 was this angle. This was 3 pi over 4. Let me make this thing longer here. Okay, so for the negative one, I go clockwise till I reach there. Okay, this one. And this is obviously 2 pi minus 3 pi over 4, which is, oh, I'm sorry, negative 2 pi plus 3 pi over 4. Okay, and this is minus 5 pi over 4. Yeah. And for the second negative angle, I do the same thing, except I don't stop there. I go once, and then like that. So it's going to be minus 2 pi, minus 2 pi, plus 3 pi over 4. And this is minus 4 pi, plus 3 pi over 4. And this is minus, okay, 16, minus 13 pi over 4. Yeah. Okay, very good. So we did problem 27, 28, 29. Let's go ahead and do 33 and 38 in this segment also. Okay, right here. I don't need this stuff. I'm going to delete this. Okay, and there we are. Let's see what we got. Problem 33, it says that, okay, you're given in degrees 2 angles like that, and you're asked, are these coterminals? Well, let's find out. Standard position means that the initial side of the angle is on the x-axis. Good. 70 degrees means it's like this. Positive 70 degrees. Okay. And 430 is, notice that 430, you can write it as 360 plus 70, which means that you went, let me draw this thing with a different color. That means you went 360 degrees, positive, and then a 70 degrees, and of course these two become coterminal. Okay, so the answer is yes, they are coterminal. Let's do 34. 34 is minus 30 and 330. So let's draw minus 30. So minus 30 means that it's negative, so it goes in the clockwise direction. So this is the initial side. This is the terminal side. And because you're going clockwise, it's minus 30 degrees. Now, the other one is right here, 360. 330 can be thought of as 360, okay, minus 30 degrees. So let's see if that actually works. Okay, so let me see now. The fact that this is positive 360 means you start here and you go by that much. That'll take you to 360, but then you back off by 30 degrees. So it's going to go, you stop right here. Okay, so you just back off. Okay, so let me see now. The correct way of drawing this angle would look like this. So here was 30 degrees. So you go there, and then you stop right there. So this is 330 degrees. And notice that they're both coterminals because they have the same terminal angle. This was the terminal side. This was terminal side for -30, and it's also terminal side for 330. So the answer to this is also yes. Okay. Let's look at these two, 5 pi and 5 pi over 6 and 17 pi over 6. I don't need these things. I'm going to delete them. Be prepared for questions like this on the next quiz and, of course, the test, which is not going to be for another 4 weeks, something like that. Because these question you on the fundamental understanding of what's going on. The calculator is not going to be able to help you. So let's see now. 5 pi over 6. Now, remember, pi over 6 is 30. 5 pi over 6 150 degrees. So I have a rough idea where it's going to be. 150 degrees means it's somewhere there, like this. So this left over here is 30 degrees. So this is 5 pi over 6. So this is the terminal side. This is the initial side for that angle in standard position. Now 17 pi over 6, 17 pi over 6, you can view it as, notice that we can write this thing as 2 pi plus 5 pi over 6. You know, the other way to look at this is to say, okay, here I have, let me see now, this is one way of writing it. So here I have 12 plus 5, right? So if you break it down, it's going to be like that. There are other ways of breaking it down too. As a matter of fact, I will do that a different way in a minute. But anyway, so if you go by this, so let's go and draw the 2 pi plus 5 pi over 6. 2 pi plus 5 over 6 means that you start there, you go once, you go twice, and then you go 5 pi over 6. Of course, you end up here. Exactly the same terminal side. So the answer to this is also yes. But I want to do this thing a different way. We should get the same answer. So let me go here. Let me go here. There is your terminal side of 5 pi over 6. This is the same thing that I wrote initially here, term. And I can view this, let me look at this. I can view this 17 pi over 6 a different way. The 17, I can look at it as 18 minus 1, right? That means this is equal to 3 pi minus pi over 6. So let's see, where does that take me? So let me use a different color here, green. So 3 pi means that, okay, you start at the initial side, you go by 3 pi. So this is 2 pi, this is 3 pi, one more pi, and then you backtrack. You backtrack in the clockwise direction like this, and you end up here. So the correct way of drawing this latter one, as a matter of fact, would have been like this. Let me erase this. Okay, good. So the green one, I could have done it like that. I go once, this is 2 pi, and we stop right there. So we don't go all the way to the horizontal axis because that makes it 3 pi, because then we have to backtrack. So what we did is we went there one complete cycle, 2 pi, and then I didn't go all the way to the horizontal axis and backtrack. So I just stopped there. So obviously that's going to be the same as this, 2 pi minus pi over 6. That's that's exactly. You end up with the same location. Is that right? Let me see now. Hang in there, just a second. Yeah, what I meant was like that. 3 pi. You go once. That's 2 pi. You don't go all the way to the end because that will take you to 3 pi, and then you have to back off. So right here, another way of writing this. Another way of writing that is 2 pi plus 5 pi over 6. Notice that Same conclusion that we got. The answer here is also yes. Okay, let's do this thing, and it's going to be quick. Okay, it says find an angle between 0 and 360 that's coterminal to this. So let's start. 733 degrees. This is number 39. 733 degrees can be looked at as 720 degrees plus 13 degrees, right? Okay, so 720, but first of all, this angle that I have here is just going around this thing twice. This is once, this is again, and then going up and stopping at 13 degrees, stopping at 13 degrees. 13 degrees. Okay, so there we are. There we are. This is the terminal side. Now it says find an angle between 0 and 360 that is coterminal with that. So the answer will be, of course, just look at your diagram, 13 degrees. So the answer to this is 13 degrees. Let's look at this one, 360, like 361. Oops, let me erase these things. 360. Well, let me draw it first for you. 361 is just going counterclockwise direction like this and stopping at 361. So it's going to be some very tiny angle. This angle is 1 degree actually. 1 degree. 1 degree. 1 degree. Okay. So there we are. This is the initial side. This is the initial. This is the terminal side. And I have displayed for you 361 degrees. Now, if you want something coterminal, 0 and 1 degree, it's going to be right there, this angle. So the answer to this is simply 1 degree. Okay, let's do number 41. Why don't we extract as many 360s that we can in 1000 and this? So 1110, we can think about this thing as let me divide this thing by 360, see what I get. So where's my calculator here? There it is. 1110 divided by 360. And I get 3. Okay, so here's the situation. So in here, I have 360 degrees, okay, plus, okay, now this, if you multiply these things, 3 by 360, what do you get? 3 by 360, 3 times 360, okay, 1080, so that's where it is. So this is a 1080, so that's going to be plus 30, right? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so what's the situation here? We go once 360 degrees. We go not all the way, but another 360, so that makes it 360, and then add 30 to it. So add 30 to it. So there it is. This angle being 30 degrees. This angle being 30 degrees. So this is the terminal. This is the initial. But remember, you got there by going once, then pi, then 180, and then 30. So when you look at this, when you look at this diagram, so if I want to write an angle between 0 and 360, this is what I need to do. You start here, you go there, okay? And this is 180 plus 30, and this is 210. So the answer to this is 210 degrees because it has the same terminal side as 1110 degrees, and it is an angle between 0 and 360 because that's what it said right there. Okay. So I'm going to stop this video segment. We do the rest of them in a different